Alright, the Dan Weber in the car review sessions continue. Alright, so I thought I'd give you one here. This one's going to be more structured though, so I want you to get a pen, get a paper, get your utensil, whatever you want. HP 55 specifically. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a, kind of like the review sessions we've done in the past in class, or like on Friday. I'm going to give you a structure or ask you questions, write it down. I'll give you some time. I'm not going to pause as much in this because then you can just pause the video yourself. Like at home, just pause it and then put the answer, and then I'll tell you the answer after, okay? So I won't leave a ton of time for you to do that, but just pause yourself. Alright, number one. Number uno. So, what did you do first? Let's do, okay, tell me the muscles in the superficial layer of the forearm. Write them down from lateral to medial. Go. Go. Pause. Okay, so laterally we have our pronator teres. Medial to that is our flexor carpi radialis. Medial to that, palmaris longus. Then flexor carpi ulnaris. So remember, when you're looking at this, you're thinking the outside two have multiple origins. The inside two have just that common flexor off the medial epicondyle. Okay? Insertion-wise, you're thinking metacarpals 2 and 5, right? So flexor carpi radialis is into the base of the second metacarpal. Flexor carpi ulnaris is into the, pause for effect, write it down if you know it, pause right now. Flexor carpi ulnaris, base of the fifth pisiform hook of hamate. Beautiful. I hear everyone got it right. Nice. Good. And then we had palmaris longus going into the flexor retinaculum and palmar aponeurosis. So into the palm, flexing the palm basically, right? Good. Underneath that, what was the muscle in the intermediate layer? Okay, we had the flexor digitorum superficialis, and that was coming off of the, what was unique about this one? Write down something unique about this muscle. Flexor digitorum superficialis. What's its origin? So the origin for this one is off the medial epicondyle, so that common flexor origin. The proximal to middle anterior aspect of that radius, as well as that olecranon and that little posterior aspect of the ulna there. I get the exact wording. I know, I'm not perfect. And going into the, where does it insert? Pause. Into the base of the distal phalanx. Oh, I lied. Into the base of the proximal phalanx of the medial 4 digits, right? It's going to flex specifically that metacarpal phalangeal or knuckle joint, as well as the pip joint or the proximal interphalangeal joint. Okay, oh, it's raining nuts here. I have like 15 views on these now. Thank you guys. You're so loving. Okay, what's next? Yeah. Or you could also say for the insertion for this one, it goes into both sides of the shafts of the middle phalanx. Good. Underneath that, you have your, what's in the deep layer? Write it down. Flexor digitorum profundus. Okay. This one originates only on the ulna and the interosseous membrane, but just the ulna, not the radius at all. Just the ulna, inserting into the base of the distal phalanx, so flexing that dip joint. Good. What are the muscles of the snuff box? Question number, whatever, 19. Okay, so you have your extensor pollicis longus. That's the one, if you're looking at your snuff box, that's the one that's closest to like the middle of your hand. Okay? Farthest away from like the side of your thumb. And then the two ones you have on more of that lateral side, technically, are the flexor pollicis brevis and abductor pollicis longus. Okay? What is the origin of the biceps brachii? Both heads. Long head is supraglenoid tubercle. Short head is coracoid process. What's the insertion? Radial tuberosity and bicipital aponeurosis. Beautiful. I can hear you all saying it. What is the insertion for the levator scapula and the origin? Insertion is either the superior angle of the scapula, or you could also say it's the root, or it's the medial border of the scapula, superior of where the root of the spine of the scapula hits that medial border. I'd probably say superior angle. It's less of a spaz fest of your mouth. That's kind of funny. Okay, what else? What else? Oh, I didn't finish. Just kidding. I almost crashed. Okay. And the origin is the transverse process of cervical 1 to 4. Okay? You don't need to have the posterior tubercle part, as I said in class. Just transverse process is the cervical 1 to 4 vertebrae. What is the conformation for the medial border of the scapula? Bam. Retraction. Right? Pinch the pencil between the shoulder blades, specifically the rhomboid muscles. What is the origin of rhomboid major? Spinous processes 2 to 5. Minor. Minor spinous process cervical 7 to thoracic 1 plus the nuchal ligament. That's the key people forget. Good. Conformation or position of the body for lower traps. You could do seated or you could do prone. Tell me write down everything you know about the triceps muscle. Oh, I like that. That's unique. That's cool. Everything you know about the triceps. Okay, you paused it, you came back. Hello again. Welcome, class. Welcome, class. Okay, so everything you know, I'll tell you everything I know. Triceps muscle, you have 3 heads. You have a medial, a lateral, and a long head. All 3 merge together and they insert into the olecranon process at the elbow. The long head originates on the infraglenoid tubercle, the scapula. The medial and the middle head, or the medial and lateral heads, you don't need to specifically say which heads are the origin for your oral practical exam, for your OP. I don't know why I said the full thing, that was weird. For your oral practical exam, you don't need to say the full thing, but you can if you want. That'd be great. Happy smiley face material. You can, oh, this is getting long. This is like 8 minutes. Okay, that's all right. The last ones were 13, so this is a good review. Yes, and then you also, so both of those, so technically they also come off the posterior aspect of the humerus, both superior and inferior of that radial groove. Okay, the medial head, or the lateral head originates superior of that radial groove and the posterior aspect of the humerus, and the medial head is inferior of the groove. Okay, oh, my nose is so itchy. I'm not picking it; it's just itchy. Wow, this is informal. Okay, that was unprofessional. What else? What else do I know? It extends the elbow is the major motion. That's really all you guys need to know. We talked about it also resisting some dislocation of that humerus, that long head especially, or that's the only one that does. What else? Those are the biggest things. Position of the body. Position of the body, you could have it in, if you'd like to, you could do seated. I would probably recommend prone though. Okay, it's a little bit looser in that area. Money. What's the origin of teres major? Inferior angle of the scapula. What's the insertion of teres major? Medial lip of the intravicular groove. Perfect. Tell me about the muscles, the other muscles that make up the idea of the lady between 2 majors. So what other muscles are sitting around that intravicular groove area, insertion-wise? What other muscles insert on there? So Pause. Medial lip, you have the pectoralis major, and then in that groove you have the latissimus dorsi, right, sitting in the floor of the clavicular groove. And then on the lateral lip you have your pectoralis major. What's the origin of pectoralis major? Okay. Medial half of the clavicle at anterior inferior aspect. You don't need to be that specific, you can just say the medial one half of the clavicle. Anterior sternum, costal cartilages of ribs 1 to 6, and you didn't have to mention the oblique aponeurosis section for your OP, but it also does come off of that. Resisted, what's your resisted action for pectoralis major for confirmations? Horizontal adduction. Body's in, what position? Supine. Okay, wherever you're sitting at home right now, I want you to get up and imagine there's a table in front of you. If you have your massage table or a couch, perfect. If there's someone in front of you, great. If you have a significant other or family member, bring them over. You have them lay down on their back. I want you to run through the palpation for subscapularis, the entire thing. Go. It's fun. Pause. Perfect. Oh, welcome back. What did you do? What was special about subscap? Write it down. Or just say it over to yourself. Okay, so what was special was, first of all, like we said, you can do special consent if you'd like to. In terms of breast tissue, you don't have to, but you can. What else? Obviously, you want to use breathing, okay, because it's sinking into a deep structure for subscapularis muscle. You could start iliac crest, or you could start distal phalanges, whatever you want. Make sure that you're superior enough so you're really almost in that armpit area. You shouldn't be inferior at all. When you come back out, make sure you use breathing as well. Make sure you check in. This is practically a very real one to check in with, because the depth of your fingers are in that area in the armpit and the axilla. Good. Okay, pillows in the normal spot. Okay, with your fun person beside you, or just the ground, whatever you're looking at right now, do the oral practical exam. You look at your stem and you see upper trapezius. Go. My windshield wipers just made a perfect sound. That was great. 12 minutes. Okay, we're going to cut this down here soon. I'll do another one in a second, maybe. Last one. What's special about it? In seated, upper trap, say the origins, external occipital protuberance, or write them down actually. So external occipital protuberance, nuchal ligament, spinous process cervical 7, superior third of the middle third of the superior nuchal line. Doing upper or elevation of the shoulders. Right, resisted elevation. Awesome. Do the palpation for the ulnar artery. Pause. And you're back. What's special about that? Special about that, count to 5, make sure you do it out loud. We want to hear you do it. Make sure you're in the right spot. If you don't feel it, that's okay. Fake it till you make it. Make sure you're in the right area. Tunnel eon, you can go a little bit proximal of that as well. You need to look at visible body or the notes, check it out, see where it is. Make sure you check in. Feels weird to check in? Make sure you check in. Make sure you do 2 descriptions. Okay, I'm going to stop it there. Done. I lied. There's one more instead.